Hello, this is Mr. Downs, and welcome to my presentation on storms of Utah. Today we're going to talk about areas of high pressure, areas of low pressure, barometric pressure, and then what they mean, the differences between them. So first thing we're going to talk about is an area of existing high pressure. Now on weather maps, whenever a high pressure is there, it'll be listed as an H. It can be a red H, it can be an H with a circle around it, but it will be listed as an H. An area of high pressure is associated with good or fair weather. There's going to be no wind or maybe some light winds. It's going to stay warm. If there are any clouds, they're going to be those pretty cumulus clouds, the big fluffy ones, and there's no precipitation. High pressure is fair, nice, great golf playing weather. And then this means that the air pressure is above 30 inches when we have an area of existing high pressure. From time to time, though, the weather will change and we'll begin to have a drop in the air pressure. As you can see, our H was over here in the middle of the state. Now it's over in the Four Corners area. Okay. We have another player moving in from the Utah, Idaho, Nevada border, and it's an L with a circle around it. This is an area of low pressure. It's not quite to us yet, but it's coming. What we want to look at is all this stuff in the middle. Okay, this is a dropping air pressure. So the air pressure has dropped below 30 inches, but it hasn't really reached rock bottom yet, and the low pressure, the lowest of the air pressure, isn't quite over us. Because the high pressure is leaving, we actually get some strong south winds, and that can cause the temperatures to kick up a little bit and be warm. Typically, meteorologists can refer to this as the warm before the storm. You'll see some cirrus clouds or maybe some other thin, high, wispy clouds. We don't have precipitation yet, but it's coming. This is going to be a transition day. Okay, and if you see this little bit of a curved line with these arrows, this signifies a cold front. All a front is that boundary between the different sets of air pressures. So the high pressure's over here, the low pressure's over here, and this front is really the boundary between high and low pressure. And then ahead of this cold front is where you see the strong south winds, maybe a little bit warmer, but still not any precipitation. So let's say another 12 hours or a day has passed, and the air pressure has dropped even lower, and it gets to the lowest point it's going to be, in this case 29.5 inches. As you can see, our cold front's over here, our high pressure is probably down here in New Mexico somewhere, and the low pressure is the opposite of the high pressure. So where high pressures are associated with nice, great, fair weather, low pressures are associated with stormy, bad weather with precipitation. We can get a north wind with low pressures, and it's cold. The air is definitely cooler with a low pressure. Lots of stratus clouds. Remember, those are the low clouds that blanket the sky. They look like you can snuggle up with them. And you do see precipitation with low pressure. And low pressure can hang around for 1 day to 3 days, typically not much longer than that. However, it isn't rare for us to get a couple of low pressures back to back that make it seem longer. So low pressure, the barometric pressure drops below 30 inches. It stays at that. It stays low for a while, and it brings stormy precipitation weather. And it does get colder than it was under the high pressure. But then after a few days, the low pressure leaves, and we come back to an area of rising pressure. We're not quite to the high pressure yet. This low pressure is working its way out of the state. High pressure isn't quite here yet, so this is another transition period. It's rising, but not quite to where it needs to be a complete high pressure above 30 inches. We don't have any north winds anymore, maybe a few light ones. There's cold temperatures, but they're slowly rising. Maybe some lingering clouds, but they're starting to break up. Maybe some scattered rain and snow, but also starting to taper off as the high pressure begins to camp over the state again. And then after a day or so, boom, we're back to our existing high pressure. Again, it's above 30 inches, and it's great, fair weather, weather you'd like to enjoy outside. It gets warm and stays warm. Not many clouds, no real precipitation or light winds. So, super important to remember areas of high pressure, areas of low pressure, the difference between them, and that barometric pressure is what helps us determine our weather. Thanks for watching.